Okay, so I just finished watching the last episode of Trigun Stampede. This show is absolutely phenomenal, and it's a shame that more people aren't giving it the time of day. And it's really because there's two camps of people when it comes to this new Trigun show. And it's those who are purely 1998 original fans only. They've never read Trigun or Trigun Maximum. They don't really know what Trigun Maximum is, and they think that the original show is the canon events of Trigun and what happens with Vash and Knives. Not to spoil anything for you, but no, the 1998 original anime really is only about maybe 2 to 5% of the actual story of Trigun. When they made that show back in the day, the Trigun manga was already canceled for several years before Night Owl was able to pick it up in a new publication and create Trigun Maximum, which was tonally different from Trigun and substantially different from the original 1998 anime. That anime basically took a little bit of what happened in the initial volumes, and then I guess got somewhat of an idea of where Night Owl was going to take the story, and then kind of went its own direction. That's basically the best way I can sum up what 1998's Trigun is, or OG Trigun anime. It's not faithful to what you would expect or want it to be. So, keep that in mind. That's something that a lot of people who are in that first camp, that's what they grew up with, that's what they love, because it was one of the first three space westerns, being that, Outlaw Star, and Cowboy Bebop, and that was those introduced a lot of people to anime, along with Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, Big O, and so many others. So the second camp of people are those of us, like myself, who have read all of Trigun and Trigun Maximum, and we've watched, and we do love the original anime, but we're also open to something new, because just leaving the original anime as it is and then knowing what actually happened in Trigun Maximum, you're basically left with, man, I wish they would adapt that, or adapt aspects of it. Because if you think that the power of Vash and Knives is in their gun and that's what creates the angel arm, then you're sadly mistaken, because that's not it. They are plants, they're not human, and that was made semi-clear in the original anime, but they didn't dive into it as deeply as the manga goes. Trigun Maximum is a very, very, very dark manga, and Trigun Stampede, its tone, and I've seen a lot of people complain about the tone of Trigun Stampede being that it's not, lighthearted, or it doesn't have the goofy aspects of the original, and that's because the manga isn't really it doesn't have that much comedy. The manga, Trigun and Trigun Maximum, are very, very dark. Vash is very much guilt-ridden, and he's basically going through the entirety of the manga. He's trying to atone for the sin of causing the migrant fleets, to crash. Like he takes ownership and responsibility for what Knives did, and you see that he's trying so hard and failing to hold on to the ideology of Rim, but not to the extent that the 98 show does, but it's similar but very different. So you see a very dark, brooding Vash in Trigun Maximum, and Trigun Stampede takes that into consideration. And the best way I can describe Trigun Stampede, if you want to take a more literal approach with it, is it a one-to-one of Trigun or Trigun Maximum? No, but it is more accurate than what we got with the OG anime. Look at it as a prequel to the events of Trigun Maximum, because everything from Trigun Maximum, from all of the gung-ho guns, the Eye of Michael, which is the group that Wolfwood, or Nicholas D. Wolfwood, belongs to, are there. They brought in Livio the Double Fang, the Crimson Nail, which we never got in the original anime, who is technically the strongest gung-ho gun. Legato Blue Summers, to the extent, like what they showed in season 1, they really kept him as more of a background character, but the few times that he showed up, like when they were showing the origin of how Wolfwood came to be what he is, being plucked from an orphanage, him and Livio, and experimented on by, the doctor, and they showed the extent of what Legato can do, which they never really did that in the original anime. They really just made him seem like someone who was just an attractive, good-looking, sadistic type of person who just wanted to kill humanity, but didn't really give backstories of why he wanted to do that. And so the new, what we got to see of him, which, keep in mind, second season, Legato's going to be a main player. Him, Leandra, the Crimson Nail, and the Gung Ho Guns and Eye of Michael, they're going to really come into effect, because what I can see happening is if they implement what was in Trigun Maximum, where Legato challenged Vash to collect the coins, to basically, like, each of the Gung Ho Guns has a coin, and if he collects these coins and he puts them in his case, it lessens the capability of Legato. Legato is damn near on par with Knives, not entirely, but like the way he's presented in the manga, he loses his mind and he becomes absolutely insanely powerful. So looking at, going back to Trigun Stampede, I keep going back and forth because you can't not do that. Like, I'm not someone who's not read it. Maybe, someone else who hasn't read the manga or hasn't seen the original show or hasn't seen all of it and read all of it, maybe they can have a different take on it. I know I'm a little all over the place, but hey, I'm trying to make this work. So basically, the way this show ends is Roberto, him being killed off by Leandra, the Crimson Nail. He got killed off, and basically that gives the backstory as to how Meryl got her Derringer pistols, because that was Roberto's. And for those of you who are like, oh, well, Millie is not in this show. Yes, she is. She's not shown in this season, but she's mentioned she's going to be put under Meryl. That's what happens after the 2-year time skip. Then you've got to look at Livio the Double Fang, who is the younger brother of Nicholas D. Wolfwood, who eventually goes on to become the partner of Vash the Stampede, like his gunslinging partner after Wolfwood dies. Now, I'm not ready for the couch scene to occur. For those of you who remember the original 98 anime, Wolfwood got killed by Chapel. Wolfwood got killed, he died in a church. In the manga, Wolfwood fights and dies, and him and Vash sit on the couch and they share a drink, and Wolfwood dies, and it's a very emotional scene. I'm not ready for the couch scene. I really think they can get 2 more seasons. I think they should do 2 more seasons, because this at the end has not only did they sideline Knives, because if you look at what happened with July City got destroyed in all iterations of Trigun. And in the destruction of July, Knives was severely injured by Vash. And this also happened here in a way more tragic way. So Knives being critically injured and having to recuperate meant that was the trigger in Trigun Maximum for Legato to go insane. And that is another reason why he went on to want to kill Knives. Like he wants to kill Vash, because he's like, how dare you hurt my master? I can see that right there needs to be its own season. Vash versus the Gung Ho Guns and the Eye of Michael needs to be its own season. That does not need to, they don't need to wrap this up with a 12 episode. This needs 24 more episodes, because what they also introduced at the end of the season was Chronica. 98 only anime fans have no idea who Chronica is. Chronica is another independent plant that's on the power level initially of Knives. More like she's up there. Her and her partner are up there. Now, spoiling a little bit of the manga, the end of Trigun Maximum is an interplanetary war with Chronica, Knives, and Vash. And Vash is trying to fight Knives while also fighting Legato. and Livio's fighting Leandra the Crimson Nail, and you got Chronica who lost her partner because of knives and is going all out trying to just annihilate Knives, who has assimilated all of the plants on the planet, or planet Gunsmoke, and has gone on to become a literal arc. And his thing is like, and this is actually interesting because if you're familiar with Xenogears, basically Knives becomes Deus, an interplanetary weapon, and he wants to go and destroy all of humanity and go back to Earth and destroy it. And what I like about Stampede is they're not only, I see that they're going to incorporate that, but they've also incorporated something else from Xenogears, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade, and that's the upper lower dimensions, like the upper domain, lower domain, upper dimension, lower dimension, and being able to tap into that. And basically Stampede gives more of a background as to what the capabilities of the plants are. That wasn't really explored in the 98 original anime, and it wasn't really something that was deeply dived into. Well, it was dived into, but not to the full extent that it is within the way the show is giving more. And the reason the show is giving more input is because Nightow is directly involved with the show. This is not just, hey, yeah, I'm gonna sign off on this and this. No, he's directly involved with where the story is going. And so I'm just really excited to see the next season. I really want this to be season 2, Vash versus the Gung Ho Guns and Eye of Michael. Season 3 needs to be Vash versus Knives, and then bring in the interplanetary war with Chronica. This needs 3 seasons to fully wrap up everything. If they wanted to, they could do 4 seasons, because they could even make the ending of season 2 be the midway point of Vash versus the Gung Ho Guns, and they could give, because in the Trigun Maximum, after the 2-year time skip of the destruction of July City, you had Vash going by the name of Eric's, where he's hiding out and grieving, and just he's really responsible for the millions of lives that were destroyed, that he killed unintentionally, but he did take their lives in July City. So he's grieving, hiding away, and the show absolutely does great in showcasing that. I think because Maximum gave that time for Vash before he went back to being Vash the Stampede, and the person that brought him out was Wolfwood, you got way more time of Wolfwood and Vash in the manga than you did with the original 98 anime. And I think they could draw that out with half a season being Wolfwood trying to bring him back to being Vash the Stampede, and then the other half can be him versus the Gung Ho Guns trying to collect the coins. And then season 3 can be wrapping that up, leading into the interplanetary war, and then season 4 could be, when all hell breaks loose, and then it just, the way it could wrap up in a better way. Like, I wasn't completely satisfied with the way the manga ended, because it was like a non-ending in a way. Vash is back to being like the wanted outlaw, but he's not only wanted by the people playing Gunsmoke, but he's also wanted by people of Earth. And I think that they could incorporate some of that. I would like to see that. But all my ramblings aside, all the people that have written off, because there's a lot of people that wrote off the show, one for the 3D animation, 2 because of Vash's haircut, and they're saying like, oh, he looks like Machine Gun Kelly and all this other stuff. And there's some folks that have written this show off because, oh, it only, I watched 2 or 3 episodes, I didn't like it, they changed all this stuff and all this is not in here. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't even watch all of the show, so how are you gonna write something off when you don't even know everything that happened? So I don't know. Yeah, this show is so good. I know I'm kind of all over the place. I absolutely loved it. I loved how Trigun Stampede goes into diving into really the struggles between the 2 brothers. The original show really went with portraying Knives as just evil from jump with no build up. The manga showed why he became the way he was. This show shows why he became why he is, but added additional context to that which is great because you need to know why he came to be the way he is. And it showed their struggle with, or Vash's struggle with trying to be human, trying to relate to them and having compassion for them. And Knives is like, they're not us. Look at what they're doing to our people. We need to just be what we are and be free and independent of humanity. They are a blight onto us. And it's just interesting, you know, like it's a dueling of ideologies. And this show gives time to both of the brothers, Vash and Knives, to showcase their ideologies. And my favorite part was at the end of the season, before Vash fires off his angel arm, after an entire century, this is the best answer you could come up with. And that's pulled from the manga too, because that was you see Vash struggling to be a pacifist, but not really having an answer as to how things should be. You know, it's the fit, like it really showcases the problem with fence sitting. So that's what I really love about this show. It's really good. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and if you didn't and you wrote it off, give it a watch. And if it's not for you, hey, the original anime is there, and you can enjoy that. But yeah, Trigun Stampede, this was one of the best shows of the season. I can't wait to see more of it. I really hope this next season is about to put some teeth on, because we got Vash's classic look, and I think we're gonna get his classic outfit, possibly, but we'll see. Why don't y'all let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoy Trigun, you know, Stampede, or if you hate it, let me know. All that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe, be blessed, have aloha, and I'll see you around. Peace.